You were born for more than just to go to work, punch a clock, and pay your bills, but you have to believe that in order to take new action.
If what you're doing for work is not deeply meaningful to you, get out of it like you would a burning building.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode, number 972. You learn more from your mistakes than your wins. Today, for episode number 973, you were born for more than to just work and pay bills. Shout out to Mike. Mike posted this in our private Facebook group, Next Level Nation. Alan, I had this saying I used to say back when we were the Hyperconscious podcast, and it's very hyperconscious. It's very out there. So I really want you to close your eyes and imagine this for a second. I don't know if you believe in aliens. Maybe you do. Maybe Alan's going to do it. Imagine if an alien landed on this planet, and this alien saw you doing your morning routine where you shower in 10 minutes, you make your coffee real quick, you grab a Pop-Tart or a granola bar on the way out the door, you run to your car, you're blasting to work, you're swerving in traffic, you get to the office, and you go sit down and do something that you probably, or I won't say probably, you may not enjoy. And the alien would say, hey, what are you doing? And you say, well, I go to this place for at least 40 hours a week, and I do this job. And the alien might say, do you enjoy it? No, I don't really enjoy it that much. Oh, okay. Why do you do it? Well, I have to pay for this house that I just left in the car that I just left in, and I have to find a way to make money. And the alien would say, well, why don't you do something you love? And it's like, well, I went to school for this, and again, I have a lot of responsibility, and I have bills, and I have a family. The alien would never understand why we go to work and pay bills and maybe don't have that level of love or that level of alignment or that level of purpose, the P word that you hear us use so often at NLU. You were born for something wonderful. And I think the problem is a lot of us get bottlenecked into doing something that we've always done, or the circumstances of our lives take over, and it's one of those things where it's like, well, I have to do this because insert reason here, insert reason here, insert reason here. And I'm not saying those reasons are invalid. Your risk-taking and the things that you're going to do are different depending on your circumstances, but I always used to think of that. Imagine if somebody said, well, why don't you do more of what you love? And again, circumstantially, it's not that simple for everybody, but you are on this planet and you quite literally have one go at this thing. And when this ends for you, that's it. You don't get a second chance. There's no second lives. You don't have any practice rounds. And I think that human beings do a really good job of losing that context, of losing that perspective. I've said the story before where I'm driving down the road and I look up and it's like, this is just a weird effing thing. Where if gravity decided to take a day off, I'd float out into space, and Alan and I would be high-fiving in zero G land, zero gravity land. But I know that sounds weird, and Alan's laughing at it, and it's funny, but that's the perspective I have. This is a genuine miracle that any of this is happening, that Alan and I get to talk to each other over the internet through space and time, and then we can post this up, and anybody in the world can listen to it. How freaking weird is that? It's the strangest thing in the world. Now, this is what I'll say, and this has to be a short episode because we're out here jeffing today, but on episode 7, and we said this recently, but on episode 7 of the Hyperconscious podcast, when I was doing this by myself, I was miserable at work, and I didn't want to do my job anymore, and I was thinking, I'm literally on the road every single week. 5 days out of the week are gone completely. I don't really have a life. I struggle to have relationships. I struggle with certain friendships because I just don't have the time, because I am basically dedicating my life to working and paying bills. And in episode 7, I wanted today, what we do today, to be my life, and now it is, and I'm super, super grateful of that. But it started with the understanding, it started with the belief that there is more to life than just going to an office, punching a clock, and then paying my bills, rinse and repeat. There has to be something to look forward to. There has to be more to life than this. I remember saying that. So this is a little bit of a different episode. This is a very hyper-conscious episode where, look, you have to use your imagination here. Your reality becomes the parts of your imagination you hold on to the longest. That is why Alan and I are still here today, because we continue using our imagination to allow us to think of what's possible for us in the future. You were born for more than just to go to work, punch a clock, and pay your bills, but you have to believe that in order to take new action. So, a little hyper-conscious episode today.
So, Kev, you took us back. I want to do the same. I used to have a podcast called Conversations Change Lives, and I used to do a bunch of YouTube videos on topics like this because I was also leaving corporate and chasing my dreams. And again, I'm going to reiterate this over and over and over again. Our 10-word description for NLU is heart-driven but no BS, holistic self-improvement for dream chasers. So if you are listening, you have dreams or you want to have dreams, one of those two. I had dreams, Kevin had dreams, and one of our dreams was to work for ourselves. One of our dreams was to start a podcast and to be successful and to have the time freedom over our own schedules. Now, that said, I used to say this all the time in some of those old videos. I used to have a Real Talk series. I had a Real Life Superhero series, a bunch of little YouTube things. They're not there anymore. I used to say this. Some people work so that they can live. Other people live to work. I just live. And what I meant by that was that I don't just live to work, and I don't work so that I can live on the weekends. I just live. And what I mean by that is who I am and what I do for work are the same thing. My main focus is one sentence, if I were to sum it up, to maximize my own unique potential and to help others do the same. Kevin and I were just talking earlier about this. Coaching is really, really, really difficult. You're involved in the lives of so many people, and it can be very difficult to not take some of that stuff home with you. Some people are going through breakups. Some people are selling businesses. Some people are growing and scaling businesses. And you're inside the health challenges, the wealth challenges, and the love challenges of so many different people. At this point, at least 60 plus people's life I'm deeply involved with. And that's awesome and it's amazing, but it's ridiculously difficult.
Hey, I wanted to give my experience working with Kevin and the rest of the Next Level University team. It has been such a seamless relationship. He is so easy to work with, Kevin, and he gives you all the information you need, but doesn't overwhelm you. He's also meets you where you're at. So whatever you want to do, he'll make it work. And it's just, there's no stress, there's no drama. And everybody else that I've worked with has been patient with me because I am not technologically savvy. So they've been helpful and patient and just encouraging. And it's just been a fantastic experience. I highly, highly recommend working with them.
So if I didn't love it, it would not be scalable or sustainable. So this is what I wrote down. The most important lesson for this episode. Your work needs to be deeply meaningful to you. Whatever it is that you're doing, there's always going to be certain stuff that sucks. Like Kevin and I are very much not in the do whatever you want all the time. If you listen to this show, you know that. There's no such thing as doing whatever you want all the time. If you have kids, you have responsibilities. If you have a mortgage, you have responsibilities. If you have a car payment, you have responsibilities. Starting a business doesn't mean you're going to just do whatever you want all the time. We have responsibilities to our team, to our listeners, to our community, to this business. That doesn't change. Okay, so yes, we have freedom over our own time and we get to make our own schedule, but that comes with a ton of responsibility of making sure we are getting things done. But at the end of the day, no matter what it is that you do for work, it's going to make up a large part of your life. A very large part of your life, at least a third, is spent sleeping, at least a third is spent working. And if your work is going to take up a third of your life, at least, it should be something that's deeply meaningful. Coaching is unreasonably difficult and it's taxing. And sometimes I get to the end of the day and I had back to back with a lot of people from all over the world. Awesome, very cool, very taxing. Sometimes I'm drained at the end of the day, but it's so deeply meaningful to me. When my clients succeed at a greater level in their love or their health or their wealth, it's deeply meaningful. This podcast, 7 episodes a week, unreasonably difficult. If you're a podcaster, you know that. Okay, we put a lot of work into these episodes, but it's deeply meaningful. The work we do is deeply meaningful. So no matter how challenging it gets, we never lose the deeply meaningful part, and that's what gets us through the tough times. So my through line on this episode is this. If what you're doing for work is not deeply meaningful to you, get out of it like you would a burning building. Now, you can't just up and quit. I want you to pave a runway. Figure out what your expenses are, be practical, save up at least 6 months of a runway. I prefer a year. And try to at least start opening your mind to the idea of getting out. We can help you with that as well. Brian Tracy had this great quote, and I know we got to go soon, Kev, because I got to call in 4 minutes.
Oh, yeah, you're jeffing.
There's a Brian Tracy speech that I have on my YouTube. I actually sent it to a client recently. And he said this quote. He said, "If you do not love what you do enough to at least want to be the best at it, get out of it like you would a burning building." He said not loving what you do and not wanting to be better at it is the highway to mediocrity. Those were his words. And I couldn't agree more. If I didn't deeply, deeply feel a sense of meaning and purpose underneath the work Kevin and I do, there is no way we could sustain this stuff. It's so challenging. And I think that that's really the through line for me is your work deeply meaningful? Because a lot of jobs are really, really difficult. A lot of work is really, really difficult. Writing a book is really, really difficult. Starting a podcast is really, really difficult. And anyone who tells you otherwise is kind of full of it, by the way. But the difficult is worth it when it's deeply meaningful. And then you actually can delay the gratification of what it takes to actually achieve your dreams, which is like what Kevin and I have talked about. If it wasn't deeply meaningful in the beginning when we were making no money, we wouldn't have been able to last. We wouldn't have been able to last. So that's really what I had to say.
Last thing I will say, last night Taryn slept in the office because we have our old bed in the office as a guest bed, and now Taryn and I have new beds, and she doesn't like the firmness of the mattress. So really think about this. I'm already saying, hey babe, we need to get you a new mattress because you're sleeping this thing for 8 hours a day. Same goes for your job. If you're worried about the comfort of your bed and your pillow and your alarm clock and your sleep routine, you got to be worried about your work routine as well. And really, really think about that. And again, last thing, I totally understand, to Alan's point, everybody has different circumstances. Not everybody can just quit their job and go all in on their podcast like we did. We didn't have responsibilities and families to that degree, so we completely understand. But I also want you to start with the understanding that there is more to life than just showing up to a job that you might not enjoy. You can enjoy your life to a deeper level. We believe that wholeheartedly at NLU, and that is why we talk about what we talk about. Next Level Nation, if you want to start a podcast, if you already have one, you want to grow, scale, monetize it, please reach out to me directly. Next Level Podcast Solutions is my baby, and we are helping all of our clients get better results and skip the steps that Alan and I really, really jeffed in the beginning. So we can help you speed up the process. I cannot help you make it easy and happen overnight. I will never promise that, but I can help you get there quicker.
I got to jump on a call with a client, so I'm going to make this as quick as possible. We are doing a next level retreat at a beautiful mansion up in Maine. It is going to be gorgeous. It's in September, so it's going to be summer, and there's going to be hiking and yoga and all kinds of amazing masterminding. At very least, please check out the landing page. Okay, it's definitely affordable. We have an annual payment plan that you can use. Check out the landing page. Imagine yourself and 17 other next level individuals for a whole weekend away, all inclusive. The only thing that's not included is how to actually get to the venue. Once you're there, all food, private chef on site, everything's paid for. So at least go to the landing page, check that out. DM Kevin or myself if you have any questions.
Next Level Nation, tomorrow for episode number 974. It is last week's live podcast. Is lack of confidence holding you back? This was one of my favorites. And if you deal with confidence issues, this will be a very valuable episode for you. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. At NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Please reach out.